Hey, good day, everybody. Welcome back to our monthly session meditation with Chashi Skobac, one of my favorite classes of the month. It's an opportunity for me to learn new skills for peaceful living and being in a good frame of mind and relaxation techniques, and just a joy to be with such a wonderful person, Chashi Skobac. So, let's just jump right in and say hello to Chashi. Hey, good evening, Hashi. I see you're in your kitchen tonight. So good to be with you, and I'm going to turn the class over to you.
Okay. Hello, Dan, and hello, everybody out there. So, I'm happy to be here with all of you. And tonight we're going to dedicate our class to the good outcome, the success of Israel's war with its surrounding enemies, and we should prevail soon, quickly, and for the protection of all the soldiers, all the Israeli soldiers, and for their being able to rescue the hostages quickly, all the hostages, and for the healing of any wounded soldiers and any victims of terror. So that's what we're dedicating our class to tonight. Now, it seems that the world is in a bit of a crazy kind of mode. So our meditation tonight will end up, not you won't see it right from the beginning, but end up with sending good things to help make the world a better place. Now, we're going to talk about breath meditation as part of creation, as an introduction to our meditation tonight. So the sages of Jewish mystical tradition teach us that originally, before God created the world, God was everywhere, so to speak, and there was nothing else. No created anything. God filled everywhere. I say so to speak because God is not physical. God is beyond space and time. But the sages say, and we can get that from the biblical text, that God desired to create our world, and there was no place for it because God filled everywhere. Oh, that's my clock. Every hour, our clock, little bird comes and chirps on the hour. So that was our clock. If you heard a bird.
Nope,
So
didn't hear.
God desired to create our world, but there was no place for it because God filled everywhere. So God withdrew, contracted, so to speak, from part of this everywhere to make a place for this world. Now, our world is different from God's world. God's world is not physical, and our world is physical. So when I speak in physical terms about the process that the sages say was part of God's act of creation, it's not really physical. It's just a way to describe it so we can
Right.
understand it on some level. So God contracted or withdrew from part of this everywhere to make a place for our world, and therefore a place for us as well. But at the same time, so here's the everywhere, everywhere. So God sort of withdrew to the perimeter,
To make a
the
space.
edges of this everywhere. And at the same time that God withdrew to make a space from this everywhere to the edges, at the same time, God also withdrew to the center, a center point, a little point in the center, so that we would have a point of godliness in this world. And if we didn't have a point of godliness in this world at all, then the world would not be able to exist. So the mystics call God's process of withdrawal, his contracting himself, simsum.
Simsum, yeah.
That is the Hebrew term for this process of creating a place for this
Contraction,
world.
yeah.
A contraction, simsum, yes. Now, Simsum is a part of this original creative process, and it's also a part of all subsequent creative processes, even in this world, even by humans. And there's not to the same perfection, not to the same purity of just plain contraction as God's act of creation, but in the physical world, it's reflected in all acts of creation. And the most obvious example is when in a woman's role, the act of creating a human being, and in her pregnancy, a woman's body is creating a special internal place for her baby. And she herself, in many ways, becomes secondary and her body pushed aside in various parts to the needs of this growing fetus during her
New
pregnancy.
life, yeah.
Yeah, which is making a place for a new world, because we say that every human being is like its own world. So that is the most obvious and sort of reflective way of describing that Simsum in this world. So she has to move over to make room for her baby, and all parts of her life are modified, not just her body, but her diet is modified, her schedule is modified. In a number of ways, she totally moves over from her previous self to make room for this baby. And this is Simsum, an ultimate act, creative act in this world. An artist, a musician, an author, while creating, is often subservient to the needs of his or her creation. And although they're expressing themselves, their creations take on a life of their own, so to speak, and make demands of the artist. So the artist is making a space for their creation in their life, while at the same time, they're also filling that space with their creation. This is an act in this world that's reflective of the original creative act when God created our world. Now, there can be a correspondence between our breath and Simsum. Our breath is also an act of creation. The Bible says that God breathed the breath of life into man, and man became a living being. That was God's breath creating a living man. And when we think of our breath in a spiritual way, it is as if God is still breathing into each and every one of us, every breath of life, and creating us continually into living beings. That's what the Torah sages say. And the ultimate level of all creation, that is actually taking place. However, from our point of view and our experience, how does our act of breathing resemble Simsum at all? Do we contract or withdraw to a perimeter or edge of a newly created space to make room for something? Well, let us breathe together slowly and see what the answer is to that. So we're going to do a very short meditation to start with. So sit in your chairs with your feet on the floor and your back straight, but not stiff. Your hands on your lap. And while you're going to breathe in deeply and slowly, you're going to be aware of the movements of your body and your experience in breathing this deep and slow breath. And we're going to talk afterwards. Was there anything that corresponds to that first act of creation, to Simsum? You can close your eyes to help you concentrate on your experience. So when you first breathe in slowly, you may feel your abdomen expand or your chest expand, or both, to breathe in new air. Very slowly inhale deeply. Hold it a minute. Exhale. We're going to do it again. Slowly breathe in to accept new air. Hold it a minute. Relax and breathe out. Now, since this is not live participation, I can't hear any of you give an answer, but Dan, see if anybody on the chat thinks that this corresponds at all and how to symptom. Did anybody answer?
No, somebody on YouTube just saying, nice theological example, very illuminating when you were explaining the symptom. It's the first time I've ever heard somebody liken it to the womb, and it makes a lot of sense, making space. And yeah, so very, very.
Yeah, I've not the first one that I didn't make that up. I've learned that as in my study of some Jewish mysticism and how the different parts of our lives really correspond to Tzimtzum. But anyway, when we breathe in, we are making a space. We're making a space for our next inhale of breath. We have to receive that. And especially if we breathe deeply, we're going to receive more breath. And our chest is going to expand to receive that, which is going to create a space. But at the same time, our rib cage is moving to the perimeter of that space, that expanded space, in order
Right.
to help create that space.
Yes.
So, Dan, do you agree with this?
Oh yes, but I ate a large meal before the class, and so it's added pressure when I'm. But yeah, you're expanding for sure, and yeah, what
You're
an analogy
expanding to make a space. Yes, the expansion part is the
for the
space.
oxygen. Sure.
But in order to expand your rib cage or your stomach, tummy muscles, abdomen muscles have to move over to the edge of that space. So that's like God's with contraction and withdrawal to the edge in order to make this new space. So
Right.
we're basically, our inhale is that part of the Tzimtzum. We're creating a space for the new breath. We're expanding, but at the same time, we're expanding. Our rib cage or our muscles are moving to the perimeter of that expansion to create room for this deep and slow inhale. So, and then when we exhale and we relax, our body is kind of moving back into its original position.
Relaxed. Yeah. Elastic almost.
So you might say that it's moving back into that original space that we had created, but also our breath, we're breathing out, and our breath, you could say, is filling the space that was expanded and also created. So we're expanding and then we're relaxing and we're letting our breath out. And our breath is also going into that space and into the world. We're breathing out into the world.
What we've drawn in already. Yes.
Yes, what we've already drawn in, what we've breathed out, we're letting go of that breath and we're breathing out that air that we breathed in that was given to us by Hashem, by God. We're breathing it out, we're letting it go, and it's going into the world. It's nourishing our bodies and it's nourishing the world in a sense, because we know that part of the breath that we breathe out
Carbon
has
dioxide,
CO2, which nourishes
the
plants
plants. Yeah.
and things like that. So that is contributing to this world that we live in and to the world that God created originally. And that's still creating. He's still creating it all the time.
Wow.
So that's how I see, and that's how we can compare our breath to this creative process, to this Simsum process of making a space, because we're breathing in. And when we breathe out, we're taking what we received and we're giving it out into the world, which is helping this world that God has created. So I want to take a few breaths together where we're experiencing not only the inhale and the expansion and the withdrawal to the sides like we did before, but we're also going to focus as well on our breath that's coming out, that we're relinquishing as we breathe out, as we exhale. So get in your meditative positions where your feet are on the floor. Your back is nice and straight, but not stiff. Your hands are on your lap. And we're going to take a few breaths together. We're going to take deep and slow breaths, and the exhale is also going to be slow. So first, we're going to breathe in to receive the breath that God is giving us. And we're creating a space in order to receive that within ourselves, in our lungs. Hold it a minute and slowly relax and breathe out the air, the breath that you were just given. Breathe in again, hold it for a minute. Feel that space that your body created to receive the breath. Slowly relax and exhale and let the breath out, which is nourishing the world, nourishing your body. One more. Slowly breathe in. Feel that expanded space that you created to receive the breath. Slowly breathe out and let the breath out that you just received out into the world. Now, the biblical text for God's creating in the world says that God created the world not only with this space that he created, with the Simsum, not only to this space for the world to be in, but he also created various parts of the world with sayings, with words. And the biblical text gives the words that he said to create various parts of the world. And I'm going to go through some of them while we're doing a breathing meditation each day, the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh day. But I am not going to say the exact text that that's in the Bible, because the text is a little bit too lengthy and I'm shortening it and I'm kind of just summarizing it.
Abbreviating. Yeah.
I'm abbreviating. I'm abbreviating. I'm abbreviating. How do you like that, Dan? I'm abbreviating. Get it? You don't get it. Breathiating? Okay. All right. Little joke there. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Our next meditation is we're going to breathe together slowly. And we are going to sort of pretend that we're God. So when we're going to take deep inhales together, and on each exhale, I'm going to say these abbreviated summary of each day's act of creation. So when we breathe out, when we exhale, each of these breaths is going to, so to speak, create each of the days of creation. We're going to all be God together, and we're going to create the world with these words. And on our exhales, when we're breathing into the world, we're breathing into that created space that our lungs and body just created to accept the air that we were given, the breath that we were given. So we're taking God's breath with each inhale, and we're letting it out to create the world. Pretend we're creating the world like God did.
Imagine.
Imagine. We're going to imagine. We're going to play God. We're like a play. Okay. I just thought it'd be an interesting thing to try to like experiment with, to get the idea of
Creation.
Simsum connected with creation, with our inhale and our exhale that we're doing all the time. Every time, every moment of our life,
Yeah. And we
we're
take it for
either
granted too
inhaling or
often. Sure.
exhaling. We're always doing it. Okay.
Mhm.
So get in your meditative positions, your feet on the floor, back straight but not stiff, hands on your lap, and you're nice and relaxed, and let your mind be clear. And we're going to all create the world together. Now, the first act of creation, by the way, is not on the first day. It's like 0 day. It's day 0, just two, so you don't be surprised by this. Because when God created the first thing that he says, it did not create the first day. It was like day 0, pre-day 1. Okay. So remember, we're going to inhale. And on the exhale, when you're breathing out, each exhale is going to create a day of the world. So let's inhale together, nice, slowly and deeply. Exhale, God says, we say, let there be light. That was day 0. And the world was filled with light. Inhale slowly. Expand, make a space for this breath. And exhale very slowly into the world. We're creating, God created day and night. Day 1. Breathe in very slowly. Make a space, an expanded space for your breath. And breathe it very slowly into the world. And God created the firmament, the separation between the lower waters and the upper waters of the heavens. Make a space on your inhale. Hold it a minute. Very slowly breathe out while you're creating the earth, the seas, vegetation, and trees. Slowly inhale. Make a space within for the next thing you're going to create. And slowly breathe out as you're saying that you're creating the luminaries, the sun, and the moon. Slowly breathe in. Make a space for your inhale. Expand. Slowly breathe out. You're creating the fish, the sea creatures, birds that fly. Slowly breathe in, receive your breath. Expand, make a space for your breath. Hold. And slowly exhale while creating the animals, the creepy crawlies, man and woman. Day 6. And slowly breathe in, inhale, receive your breath, expand to receive it, and slowly exhale while creating Shabbat, creating rest, rest from all work, past work and present work, past works of creation, resting from future works of creation. Take a moment to just feel what you experienced. And very slowly, when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back to the room that you're sitting in. Now, I did that exercise because when we do our next meditation, we're going to breathe not as God, but as ourselves. And we breathe in, we receive our breath, and we breathe out into the world. And we breathe out what we create as people, as humans, as individuals. I want you to feel how being that we connect in some ways, that there's a connection with what we do and what the ultimate act of creation is. We are each created beings in the world, but what we do reflects in some ways, is made of similar things, in our own physical way, physical and spiritual way, that connect to that ultimate act of creation, that ultimate act of creation of the world that God did, and that's who sustains. That ultimate act is a template for all the creative things that we do. So I thought if we breathed that template together, the template of the original act of creation, then when we breathe and think of what we're creating, we can connect it, we can feel the connection. So we're going to also breathe again together. And we're going to be conscious of that space that we're making for each of the inhales and for the breath that we're receiving. And I'm going to guide us together for different suggestions that we can think about when we exhale of what we're giving out to the world. Now, you don't have to follow every one of my suggestions of what to think about and what you're giving out to the world on your exhales. I'm suggesting it, and you're welcome to follow my suggestions and sort of think those thoughts as I'm suggesting them and as you're breathing out. But you may have thoughts of your own that seem more meaningful at the time for you, which you're welcome to do. And the suggestions that I'm going to give are things that we need, all of us in our own lives, and also that the world needs desperately. Because there is an idea that that every time we do something in the world, every thought that we think, everything that we say, every hope that we have, etc., all contributes to the state of the world. Nothing is lost, nothing is wasted, except maybe very negative things. But anything good, any good intention that you have, that you give out to the world, contributes in some way, even if we can't see it. It all contributes to the state of the world. And we can see when we watch the news and all that, that there's plenty of negative things also that's contributing to the state of the world, unfortunately. So we're going to sit in our meditative position. Feet on the floor. Back nice and straight, but not stiff. We're not slumping. And our hands on our lap. And we're going to close our eyes. And we're going to breathe together as I guide us on this meditation. We're going to start out with very simple, slow ideas and continue with other simple, slow ideas. So now we're breathing as ourselves, as human beings, as individuals. So when you're ready, you can slowly take a deep and slow breath, feeling your chest expand to receive the air. Hold it a minute. And as you exhale, feel that, say to yourself, I want to contribute to the world. Now we're going to stay with that thought for the next few breaths so that you'll think it to yourself, but you don't have to hear my voice. So when you're breathing nice and slowly, on your exhale, think to yourself, I want to contribute to the world, or I want to make the world a better place. And feel that with each exhale, as you feel the exhale going out into the world around you, that air, that exhale is carrying something to make the world, is carrying your intention that's making the world a better place. It's as if you're streaming into the world. That exhale that's making the world a better place. This is your act of creation with this breath. And now you're breathing in. And as you exhale, you're thinking, I want to breathe out good thoughts to the world. And you may think of a particular thought. On your exhale, that you are breathing out to the world. You're breathing out. You're streaming into the world a good thought. And you're going to breathe in and receive your breath. Hold it. And as you breathe out, you're going to slowly exhale good hopes to the world. You are going to breathe out what you hope for the world. And you're going to breathe deeply to receive your next breath. And as you exhale, you're going to breathe out a good word to the world. You're exhaling. You're streaming into the world a good word. This is your act of creation for the moment. And you're going to breathe in deeply and make a space to receive your next breath. And you're going to breathe it out. And with it, your unique gift to the world that only you can give. What did God create you with that you can breathe out, stream out to the world? And we are going to breathe in deeply, expand to make a space to receive the breath. And as we breathe out, we're going to think of someone we know who needs a good thought, who needs a good word. And we're going to direct our exhale and stream this thought, stream this good word to a particular person who could use it. And when you're ready, sit for a moment just to feel the experience that you just had with this meditation. And how you fit into the creation. And when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes and come back to the room that you're sitting in.
I got a bright light so I can, for my chroma key background, I got a very bright light. So yeah, opening the eyes. It's like, yeah, shocking.
Okay. All right. I hope you're okay. So hopefully with all these people, I don't know how many there are, breathing out these good things to the world, hopefully we'll have a nice effect. And we're going to,
Actually, Chashi, we're not getting as many on YouTube tonight, but our numbers on Facebook are off the hook. We've had a little more than a dozen on YouTube watching so far, but we've already had over 170 on Facebook. So, yeah, we've nearly reached 200 people so far.
Okay, the world's going to be redeemed with all these good thoughts and all these good dreams and all these good hopes. Yay. Okay.
Well, just thinking that your breath, when you breathe out, the fact that what the plants need to survive, and yeah, so you're contributing in some way, shape, or form just by your breath, and it gives life to the plants.
But also, let's say when you speak to someone, you're breathing out. And if you say something good, you're using your breath to do that and you're creating something good. And when you smile at someone or when you do an act and some kind of act in the world, you need to breathe in order to do that because otherwise you won't be alive. So this is all contributing to ways that we things we give out to the world. We're making it simple here with the breath. But even when you breathe out and you have a good thought, it's still real in some way, even though you can't say, well, it's not real in the way that physically breathing out is contributing carbon dioxide to the plants. But breathing in and out is sustaining you. And good thoughts definitely can contribute to the world. And how do we know that? Like, is there evidence for that? Well, there is evidence for that because prayers are made of thoughts and words. They have good thoughts behind the words. You have to have the good thoughts to know what to say, and otherwise you're not going to know what to say in the prayers. And there's evidence that people that are ill who don't know this but have people praying for them have a greater rate of healing than those that are ill that do not have people praying for them. And prayers are
Mm.
good thoughts.
Well, you,
So they've done studies on this.
oh yeah, you make me think of like now a big thing in hospitals is therapeutic animals. Like they'll bring in dogs, and I've seen videos online of where an actual horse goes into the hospital, and they let the animal actually select which room it's going in, and just by connecting the presence, brings a positive vibe in from a maybe a dog or an animal of some sort. The point being that like you're saying, I mean, the good things you project in this world don't intend ill out there, and it can contribute to positive atmosphere for sure.
Right. And when the biblical text says that God created the world with saying different things like let there be light, let there be plants, let there be, people. Before the words are formed, there's thoughts, right? I mean, in our world, before we say anything, there has to be a thought in our brain in order to say it.
Right.
So thoughts have an impact. And even if you're not always saying a word, but if you have a good thought, and we know that thoughts are also behind the words and part of prayers, and that's all connected to the original act of creation. So I think that we can say that when we use the exhale as a vehicle to feel our good thoughts going out into the world, use our breath as a vehicle to experience our good thoughts, our good hopes, our good dreams, our unique gift to the world.
Yeah,
It's like
positivity. Sure.
it's positivity, and it's also getting us ready to also do physical acts that we can see, in space and time, how that affects the world. So I'm using the breath as a template because it fits in and corresponds so well to the original act of creation of
Simsum.
God creating the world and the Tzimtzum and expanding and giving out, and creating. So that's what this
That's amazing. Yeah.
exercise, it was to help us experience that. I just
Excellent.
want to do one very short additional meditation. This is a short one, just that I feel this is an important way to end. Okay. So everybody sit in your meditative position, your feet on the floor, your back straight, but not stiff. Your hands on your lap. And I'm going to again make some suggestions of what to think and feel as you're on your exhale. But of course, you're free to modify that if it fits better for you. So very slowly breathe in and feel your expansion to receive the breath, and hold in a minute. And as you exhale slowly, you're going to say to yourself, I feel grateful for having life to breathe good thoughts to the world. I feel grateful for being given life to do good things.
The opportunity.
I feel grateful for my life to breathe good feelings to the world. I feel grateful that God gives me life to breathe good prayers to the world. I feel grateful for God giving me life to breathe my unique gift into the world. Thank you, God, for creating the world and for creating me. And when we're ready, you can very slowly open your eyes and come back to the room that you're sitting in. Feel refreshed and energized and hopeful, knowing that you can continue this process in many ways anytime you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not just good for us, but yeah, you can be of positive impact in the world for sure. and focus on it. Focus on it. You have purpose. And yeah, I think today's lesson really, really helps people find purpose in the sense that Hashem created the world and us in it for a purpose. And that purpose can be expressed in a very positive manner. Relaxing. Well, thank you so much, Chashi. It's so good to see you, and I enjoy this class every month. Pick up something that I can use during the busy times of my month. Sometimes it's just stressful situation comes into play, and I can think.
I recommend that people do this exercise, or, part of it sometime during the week, sometime during your day. And if you see something that's happening, maybe on the news, it's upsetting, you can do some of this exercise to try to give good things out into the world. In addition to other things you can do, like, I don't know, write letters, make phone calls, whatever, help people, give charity, but you can also do this exercise as well. And it is relaxing.
Yeah, share good vibes out there. But also good vibes within you, and when you're filled with good vibes and more positivity, it's got to make an impact some way, shape, or form in your sphere of influence, wherever that may be. It's a joy.
You can feel empowered. You can feel empowered with this, and you can make you feel better. Yeah. Make you feel more creative, make you feel more useful, make you feel more purposeful, make you feel more grateful, appreciate the good things that you have. It's helpful for all those reasons.
Yeah.
You'll experience.
Shake off the negativity for sure. Yeah, you don't need. It's like, when you're sweaty and dirty, you go have a bath or a shower, and you clean that off. Well, think of meditating as a way to clean your inner soul and refocus on being positive in this world for sure.
So thanks again, Dan, for
it's my
helping
pleasure
out with this, all your broadcasting, and this wouldn't happen if it weren't for you. And thank you so much.
Well, it's this class is only one a month, but it's a day where I look forward to it, and I know you've been very busy of late, as you've said at the beginning. But thank you for taking the time out of your busy night and letting us have a class in your kitchen.
In my kitchen, yeah. So maybe next time I'll feed you all something. I don't know. I'll cook something up for all of you.
Well, I did get
something
to have dinner.
Drink.
Yeah.
You can have something to drink.
Yeah.
You could tell me what you want now. You want some soda? You want some milk?
No, I'm good.
No. You're okay? Okay. Anybody out there want something to drink here? Let me know. We're almost finished this class. You better hurry up. No? I guess
all
not.
Good. All good.
Okay. Oh, well. More for me.
Well, on that note, I guess we can sign out for today, and keep posted. Or keep an eye out on Facebook, is where I usually advertise for the next session, and we will aim sometime in August, Hashem willing, as long as Hashi's schedule allows for it. I do appreciate it, and so until next time, have a wonderful, wonderful day, everybody. Bye for now.
Bye for now.